Welcome to this week's segment of the Ripoff of the Week. My name is Adam Andrzejewski, and I'm the founder and CEO of OpenTheBooks.com. And you know our mission at OpenTheBooks.com. We believe transparency changes everything. It's simply said, every dime online in real time. Last year, we filed 47,000 Freedom of Information Act requests. It was the most in American history. And we successfully captured 25 million public employees' salary and pension records at the federal, state, and the local level across the country. And that leads us right into our story today. Our data capture makes today's national investigation. We're earning a ton of national media on this investigation. And before I describe it, I just want to introduce my co-host, and her name is Tamara Colbert. Hey, Tamara.
Good evening, Adam. Boy, this national story has really taken off. And if we were to give out a golden flip-flop award, it would certainly go to Los Angeles lifeguards. Tell us about this story and what's happening.
And those are flip-flops as in the type of footwear that they wear on the beach. So we put Baywatch on Paywatch. We found that last year in 2021, the top paid Los Angeles County lifeguard actually made $510,000 on the year. And that was substantially better than in the year 2019, when that's the last time we gave the file oversight, and the top paid lifeguard in Los Angeles made $392,000. So the trajectory of pay, perks, and pension benefits on Baywatch, the lovely beaches of Los Angeles County, it's out of control.
So, Adam, you mentioned that the guy that made over $500,000 in perks, benefits, and salary, but there's a whole lot more making six-figure incomes besides that gentleman. Tell us about what you learned.
So this year we found 98 Los Angeles County lifeguards actually made more than $200,000. And that was up over the course of the past 2 years from 82. There were 30 Los Angeles lifeguards that made more than 300 grand last year. And that again was up from 8 of them in 2019. And of course, the top paid lifeguard made 510,000. And in 2019, that specific lifeguard made a little less than 370,000. Still way too much money, but nothing like $500,000.
Adam, as we highlight these kind of investigations and stories, the types of salaries we are talking about in really a service, right? A public servant type of industry. We're talking these lifeguards, over 100 lifeguards making the equivalent, and in some cases more, than private corporations executives. How in the world did we get to this point where lifeguards are making more than CEOs of mid-sized companies?
Well, I think it goes back to 1995 when the lifeguards actually became a bargaining unit. They established a public sector union. It's called the Los Angeles County Lifeguard Association. So since 1995, they've been very savvy negotiators. They've negotiated themselves nice base salaries, perquisites, pension benefits, other types of benefits, to the tune that now the top paid lifeguard makes north of $500,000.
So, Adam, at Open the Books, we always talk about how transparency revolutionizes public policy. And with these kind of salaries, this just seems like permanent government, even beyond out of control, just in the increase in the last 2 years since we've looked at these lifeguard salaries. Is there anything we can do to rein in this type of spending?
Well, I think it's a national issue, Tamara, and people across the country need to raise their voice on this. And here's why. In the American Rescue Act that was passed in March of 2021, the American taxpayer bailed out Los Angeles County to the tune of $1.9 billion. So it's our money sitting in Los Angeles County, and it's giving them the means to pay their lifeguards up to $500,000 a year. So people are always asking themselves, what can I do and when should I stand up? Well, when the lifeguards in LA County are making up to $500,000, it's time to raise your voice and it's time to stand up.
So as we're looking at this on a even a deeper level, Adam, how are middle income taxpayers, how do they view this as you and our auditors are looking at all of this? I mean, this just seems so out of control. This is really a 1% situation in what is a public service business.
Well, I think the American people get this. It's unsustainable. You can't pay your lifeguards $500,000 a year. I mean, just on its face, that's ridiculous and absurd. Let's put this in perspective also. We went back to 2013 and we took a look at the top paid LA County lifeguard. And it was making too much money, 283,000. Today they're making 510,000 just 9 years later. So fast forward, if this trajectory of pay increase continues, by 2030, you'll have $1 million paid LA County lifeguard.
We have several comments from viewers tonight that are saying they're going to change occupations and go become a Los Angeles County lifeguard. And
and Tamara, to be fair, the lifeguards, they pitched in during the pandemic and the COVID lines, alongside doctors and nurses. But here's the problem with that. There was many doctors and nurses that they were working around the clock. They're not making $500,000 like the lifeguards are. So I don't think that helps so much.
So what can we do as citizens, as folks in Los Angeles County? But really, Adam, if Los Angeles County got bailed out, $1.9 billion in COVID relief funds, that is money from all of us taxpayers in the other 49 states. What's our recourse in a situation like this?
So I think if you're a teacher, you need to call your congressman and see how they voted on the American Rescue Act. If you're a teacher in for instance, Beverly Hills, which is a very ritzy school district, the average teacher made $138,000 in that very wealthy school district. Lifeguards in LA County can make almost 4 times that. If you're a teacher sitting there in LA County, you better call your local supervisor. You got to raise your voice and you got to stand up. Now's the time. I mean, when are you going to stand up if it's not now when the lifeguards are cleaning off $500,000?
Exactly. So with that in mind, you can go to openthebooks.com and you can see all of our articles. But more importantly, we have a new Substack page and we would like you to go and subscribe. Adam, what is the Substack address?
So the Substack address is openthebooks.substack.com. Please subscribe and you'll be on the leading edge. As soon as our investigation's published, it generates an email to all of our subscribers.
Thank you so much for joining us this week on our ripoff of the week. Stay tuned because there's going to be plenty more next Thursday. See you then, and go to openthebooks.com where you can read all about this and visit our Substack at openthebooks.substack.com. See you next week.